Okay, let's get back to the source. T-Bone Walker. In this solo we see a number of T-Bone style licks turn up, mostly played out of the first blues position. The intro is a typical T-Bone Walker one that comes in many variations. Now you're playing D ninth and E flat ninth chord, sometimes adding your pinky to make it into a 13th chord. The dominant chord right before the actual 12-bar blues progression begins is a D7th augmented chord. We've seen this one in the Brian Setzer solo too. It's a chord with a lot of tension that pushes the song forward. In this solo we're playing it as an arpeggio. The licks on the one chord accentuate the blue note, which is the flat at fifth in the G blues scale. Because you're playing that note on the first beat, it really sticks to your ear. Now, T-Bone would often play the same note on different strings. He would do that by bending one note up to the other, sometimes up to that note, and that exact same note you can find on the second string. These are all played in the first blues position. And sometimes he would also use slides to do this. So what you're doing here, you're sliding up to the 8th fret of the second string, which is the same note, a G note, as the 3rd fret on the first string. Typical T-Bone Walker lick. Now again, we're accentuating the 5th of the 5 chord, which can be found on the 5th fret of the first string. Now that A note that you're playing here is not part of the 1 chord G7, as you can see. It's the 9th of it. Kind of a weak note. And it's also not part of the 4 chord C7. That would actually sound like this. Kind of a little bit too jazzy and a weak note. But on the 5, it's the 5th. So it sounds very grounded. Well, this chord has these notes, the D, the F sharp, the A and the C. So the A is the 5th. So by playing that note on the 5, you're really showing your audience that you know where you are. Now using chords in your solo was one of the great tricks T-Bone Walker featured in his playing. It's not easy at all, but when you get hip to it, it'll really spice up your playing.